And also, one question that we hear a lot is, I don't know if I really feel cool giving my money to 18-year-olds. Well, first of all, I'm 19. Second of all, it's really trustworthy. Credit unions are federally recognized, and we're going to talk about the charter process in a little bit, but all your money is insured up to $250,000, just like the FDIC. You have vaults, you have secure information, you have secure networks, and you have regular audits that are conducted by the Federal Credit Union Association. And so that's something that's really key, and all those worries about safety are really unfounded because they're so federally regulated. They're actually more intensely regulated than commercial banks because they know that the people running them usually aren't trained in finance. So that's something really to keep in mind. And here's a picture of a vault to demonstrate. So how are we going to do this? Basically, what we're going to start out doing is first we're going to pull from the community, just like we're doing right now. And what we really have to do, since credit unions are built on the community, what we're going to start doing is building support from the community. So we're going to create community awareness through events and advertisements and events just like this. And then we're going to also document interest. And so we're going to do this through surveys, and this goes into the charter process, which I'll talk about in a second. And then once we have this real base of community support, we're going to go to administration, and then we're going to go for funding. Okay, step 2. First, does anyone have any questions? Okay, great. Okay, step 2, charter application. So then once we have this information, we have a business plan, we have funding, we have interest in the community, we go to the LCUI, National Credit Union Association, and we prove interest through surveys. We define our community, which we are aiming towards Columbia affiliates, but we're still strictly defining now. And then we prove to them that we have funding. And funding is sometimes a tricky question. People come to us and they say that it sounds a little unrealistic, but actually, just like Georgetown, there are a lot of people that are really excited about credit unions. And so what they did is they got $100,000 in seed funding from their university, which we would be able to go to Columbia and ask for that, and with the community support, we would really be helping with that. But also, Columbia, I don't know if you've heard, but we graduate a lot of people that are involved in finance. And so we can go to them and we can go to alumni and reach out to networks because credit unions are really good for communities and they keep alumni connected to the university, which school after college. And so that's really the key that we're talking about, funding. And then, once we get our charter, which I hope we do, I think we will, what we do is we start out small. So we start out with some savings accounts, some checkings accounts, and then once our organization expands and the interest continues to grow, then so will the institution. And so the services that we can provide will expand until, depending on the interest, hopefully a year or 2 out, we're a full-fledged financial institution capable of doing pretty much everything that your commercial bank can do. So let's change the way that we do things. No, but we really have an opportunity to change the way that people interact with their banks in the area. It would not only create a cohesive environment and keep everyone connected to the university instead of Citibank, but all the profits would just go back to you guys. It would kind of just be a net gain. And so that's what's really exciting about LCUI, and we really hope that you guys see why we're so passionate about it. You guys have any questions, any comments? Yeah.
How about debit cards and ATMs? How does that work into the process?
So we can give debit cards, and then with ATMs, a lot of credit unions will have like 1 or 2 ATMs at their branch, but they'll buy into ATM networks, so they'll be able to have access to thousands or tens of thousands of ATMs across the nation because they'll pay this monthly fee. Yeah.
Can alumni and family of Columbia students or faculty be a part of the member of credit unions? Like after 4 years or 2 years master's course?
Yeah. No, so the thing is, we have to define our community. So far, we're still defining it, but a few key parts that we know are going to be part of it are alumni and students. And so even after you graduate from master's and graduate programs, you'll definitely be able to keep banking with them. And the families of alumni are something that we're still exploring, and because we're just starting, if you guys become part of the team, you'll have a chance to help define that conversation. But yeah, no, it's definitely something that, yeah.
What's the time frame?
So this really depends on the community. we're looking at 6 to 12 months, and that's what we're thinking about the charter, because we already have interest, we really have kind of created a framework on how it's going to go, and once we get a team of people that are really excited, and I hope that you guys see this, it's kind of an intuitive concept as long as we can get people in a room to explain it, because it just makes sense. And so that's what we're hoping, that it will just pick up steam and then we'll be on our way. Yeah.
And what are you going to do about the relation that Columbia has with City Bank, like this official agreement they have? So how do you get around that?
So Penn and Georgetown both have this issue. Penn especially has it. And so what they do, and this is also how we would frame it, is, and this is also like a big truth, it's not as much a competitor as it is a student group that is helping to educate students. And you know, a university by principle can't say, this, we're going to pick this financial institution over the expansion of the education experience of our students. And so we would frame it as more of a student group and less a Citibank competitor. Anything else? Yeah.
So they're just going to have as much legitimacy as a bank right from the beginning? What I mean is that they'll be able to accept transfer, wire transfers from international banks as well?
Yes. Did you know
Yeah,
about that?
I do. So there are several models for how a credit union is chartered. And the one that we're shooting for is a quick model, where you get all the basic services, and then within 6 to 12 months after you get founded, you get approved to offer much more expensive services. Eventually, we'll be doing things like mortgages, auto loans, money market accounts. Okay, the credit union at Georgetown has free wire transfers in, okay? And they have accounts that are directly tied to parents, so that's really helpful for students. And ways of handling things like your rent that most banks can't offer because they're not tailored to your community.
And one cool thing about credit unions, which I didn't really touch on, is the fact that they're community oriented means that you usually know a lot of the people. And so we actually heard this story about this guy from Georgetown where he was in like Aruba or something, and he was on a moped, and he got like his pants taken and his moped taken or something, and like had gotten all his cash stolen. And because they knew the family so well, the mom was able to call the credit union and say, listen, like my son is in danger, like he's really kind of screwed, could you send him some money? And because they had that trust, which I don't know how close you guys are with Chase, but I don't have it, they were able to say, yeah, we'll front it because they knew the family, which is cool. Anyone else? Good. Yeah.
Are you thinking of getting just like large blocks of money from alumni or crowdsourcing it from students right now and then go to technique or something?
This is a good opportunity to funnel into our next presentation, which will be covering that in more detail.
Yeah, and I mean, we're trying not to take money from students. So deposits we're looking for, I think. And we'll talk about this a little more, but the big seed funding, I mean, students want to give money, they should get, but I think we're looking for bigger numbers.
We're not asking
Yeah.
students for money.
Yeah.
So
Also, they're not donations per se, because the university would still deposit that money. It's just expected that they won't immediately want to withdraw that money. So they would deposit and probably just keep it there forever, or for many, many years.
Yeah, are you guys like looking for any student participation this year? Or
Yeah, next presentation. We got you.
let's do it.
Yeah.
You guys want cookies, soda?
Yeah.
Cookie break,
Does anyone want
break.
to take a break or get some cookies? Yeah.
have you get contacted with the administration already?
So we have spoken to a few administrators, but we have a lot more to stand on once we start with community support. And so we've spoken to administrators, and what hasn't happened, which we are very happy about, we haven't been stonewalled with like agreements by city or like things like that. And that was our worry initially, that they were just going to be like, no, sorry, we have an agreement. And that didn't happen. And so we've had some brief contact, but not any real formal